All right, let's talk the truck series at Cota. Practice and qualifying is done. So we finally know where these guys are starting. And if you watched our preview video, that was the biggest thing we were really concerned about this weekend with the lack of dominator points. There's only 42 laps this weekend. Most of your points are going to be scored from place differential and finishing potential. So knowing where a lot of these drivers start was really important to us. So now that we know where they start, we can finally get our final picks, our interest levels out there to everybody, kind of give you our player pool and kind of the way we are going. So got Rich and Coop on the truck podcast for the picks video, but we'll throw it to you, Coop, looking at the top price drivers from starting with Kyle Busch there. How are you approaching this race with the top of the slate?
Yeah, Kyle Busch in the truck race again. Obviously, he's a favorite to win. Starting fifth, he doesn't give you that much room to move forward, and there's not that many laps to be led, though. So we really need him to win to pay off that price tag, but could pay off there. Sheldon Creed, I'm not interested in. He had an issue and has to start from the back. So even though he's scored from the pole, he's starting way back, and I just don't like the price point for a driver that's scored on the pole or road course starting from the back at all. I like Nemechek a lot. He's right there. Same equipment as Kyle and has a few more spots he can move up and provide some salary relief there. So I'm interested in Nemechek. Bowman starts a little high for me, but he is a Cup Series driver. And this really is going to be, I think, more beneficial for him on Sunday, having some extra laps in the truck race here.
I think Coop's sound cut out, but I also like Kyle Busch this weekend. He's starting fifth. Coop said he doesn't have a ton of place differential upside, but he does have a little bit, especially if he ends up winning the race. There's not a ton of laps to be led, but if he can lead, 20, 30 of those laps, he can still finish second and probably get 5-6 times value. Definitely like John Hunter Nemechek a little bit more, and he's a lot cheaper, and he offers not a lot more, but definitely a few more place differential points. Those are probably the only two guys in this range that I'm actually really looking at.
Yeah, then once you get to the 9K range, I think there's a lot of good value, a lot of guys that we really like. You can see our high interest levels there for basically everyone in the 9K range. One thing to note, Coop brought up a good point. So Sheldon Creed will have to start from the rear. So that means that Zane Smith, even though he scored from second, will actually have pole position. So if you're looking for like an early lap leader, he could potentially, be that early lap leader. The problem is it takes them a while to get around this track. There's only 42 laps. So just because he is leading a lap, you're not really getting that many points out of him. So him starting second, it's hard to play him unless you're, just throwing a dart in a GPP line. But from Kaz Gralla to Ben Rhodes to Grant Enfinger, Chandler Smith, even Matty D there, like these are all, Matty D is a little bit of a different scenario just because of where he starts. But basically everyone in that 9K range, I think, is a viable option with the upside that they offer and the equipment that they're in and the skill level that the driver has, and B, the place differential upside that they offer. The advantage of a lot of the drivers in the 9K range versus some of the drivers in that 10K range is they actually do offer positive place differential points, where a lot of the drivers in that 10K range are rather limited. So I like getting some combination of those 9K drivers. And then I'll let you talk a little bit more about the 8K range, Coop.
Yeah, I'll touch on Matty D. I think he's going to be the highest owned driver, but he starts so far back that it's almost a must play in cash. He's bound to move forward and provides a lot of value there at that price. I'm not too interested in many of the 8K guys until you get down to Crafton. I think he actually is pretty good value at 8K. I think that's pretty cheap for Crafton, and he starts 20th and could easily get into the top 10. So I like him in that range. How about you, Rich?
Yeah. Matty D's the best play in the 8K range. He starts dead last. Like you guys said, he's going to be the chalkiest play. The other guys in this range are definitely in the more GPP side. They have all of them have great finishing potential but they don't have as much place differential upside. So I mean, Tyler Ankrum, even though we have him at low, he can still finish 8th or 7th and pay off that price tag. And Stuart Friesen and the rest of these guys can stay right where they're at and even be close to 5 times value. So they're not bad plays, but they're definitely more GPP as we're looking for guys that are a little bit safer and have the place differential upside. But if we go down here in the 7K range, definitely like Tanner Gray a lot. I think he spawned a little bit in his or got loose in his qualifying run, didn't have a great lap. Offers a lot of place differential upside. He's generally in the top 15 most tracks we're at, even at road courses. So definitely like him here. He's probably one of the better value plays this weekend for the Truck Series.
Yeah, I like the 7K range a lot. There's a couple of interesting ways you can go. Like if you are playing cash games, I think, you could look at Colby Howard. You could look at Tanner Gray. I would feel a lot more confident in Tanner Gray than I would Colby Howard, but both of them are viable for cash games. And then a play that I like a lot is Ty Majeski. One, I don't know if he's going to draw a ton of ownership. He didn't post the best times in practice and qualifying, but he's been having a really great year. That Thor Sport truck is top tier equipment. It's the same equipment that Ben Rhodes and Matt Crafton is in. And then Hocevar is a little bit more of a GPP option. Again, he's limited with place differential points based on where he starts, but like Rich was just saying with Ankrum, Hocevar is a guy who I could see running in the top 8, top 10 all day long. And even though he might lose a position or two through place differential points, those finishing potential points are really going to help boost his score. And then once you get down to like the 6K range and the 5K range, then you start getting into some of these, drivers who don't have as much upside as some of the other guys in the 7K range. But if you're looking at some of the guys lower on the slate, Coop, are there any drivers that kind of stick out to you?
Yeah, I don't mind Austin Wayne Self at 7K. I think he can ride right around there and maybe move forward a little bit. So I don't mind that. And then I'm actually kind of high on Jack Wood. I think at 6K he provides a lot of salary relief, and I think that truck can move forward. So those are the two plays that I'm probably looking at in this range. And then moving on down, I really like Timmy Hill. I think that's fantastic value. I think he can place in the top 25 easily, and at 5,200, I think that'll do for value there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really like Timmy Hill this week. He's probably the best pump play out of everybody. He's got top 20 upside and even a little bit higher if things go his way. I really like Haley Deegan this week. She hasn't had great luck this year, to be honest. Had a scary situation last week where her truck caught on fire, but she's right back in the truck this week. Last year at this track, I think she ran 14th, started pretty deep in the field. So I have no problems playing her, starting 60 or at $6,600. She offers a lot of great value here. So you can get some of the better PD plays in the 9,000 range.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. Like when you are looking at some of these, lower price drivers on the slate, it's trying to find the 1, 2, or maybe even 3 drivers down here who can move forward and also have the skill and the equipment to finish, inside that top 20. Especially once you get lower than the 5K range, it's really hard to imagine without just the race getting completely chaotic and crazy that any of these drivers really outside of Timmy Hill, in my opinion, who have the speed and the pace to run top 20. Once you get to the 6K range, I think you could make an argument for a variety of different drivers there, but that's why we're so high on Timmy Hill for the punt play. But that's going to do it for the final picks video for the truck series. If you guys want access to this spreadsheet, it's on our Twitter, which is at FastCarsFM. Any lineup questions you have, feel free to drop them in the YouTube comments down below, or you can send us a message over on Twitter. And our Xfinity video will be recorded here shortly, and that one will be posted as well. Our Cup video will be out tomorrow. We're recording this on Friday, so Cup video will be out on Saturday once we get the starting grid for that race. And yeah, thank you guys for the support.